imagine if I used the F-bomb, it would be like, it would be the electric chair, right? The electric chair.
We're going to work hard together. I will fight for you. I will do everything I can as your president.
Teddy Roosevelt rode into this town and rode into Washington, and he said, "You get with me." I'm like, Teddy, you know, we just raise hell and shake everything up.
Who loves the idea of the wall?
Right? He's going to send everybody home. It's not only unethical, it's the dumbest economic idea I ever heard in my life.
They wouldn't even be talking about illegal immigration if I weren't in this race. Nobody would be talking.
You know, it's easy to talk about making America great again. You can even print that on a baseball cap, and the cap will undoubtedly be made in China.
Those are, of course, the 2016 presidential candidates and a former president. And the video the sound was from the campaign trail today. And if you thought this year's election was nasty, it is nothing compared to past elections. Presidential historian and author of the brand new book, Rightful Heritage, Douglas Brinkley, went on the record with some of the dirty campaigns from our nation's history. Doug, nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Greta.
And congratulations. Your new book, Rightful Heritage, is a great one and certainly getting great reviews. I'm not the only one who's saying it's a great book.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's on Franklin Roosevelt. I spent a couple of summers living up at Hyde Park on the Hudson doing research in the archives and trying to get a whole new look on our nation's only four-term president.
What do you think that he would say about today's 2016 presidential race? You know you've studied all the presidents, and of course you're deep into this president now. What would he say?
Well, you know, they used to say that, you know, Winston Churchill would kind of sneak his hand into your pocket and steal a coin, while FDR would jam both hands in and go big. And he'd like to do big ideas, big things. I mean, the whole New Deal was, you know, let's plant 2 billion trees. Let's build the Golden Gate Bridge and Triborough Bridge. Let's build tunnels. Let's make America great again. And that's sort of what you see Donald Trump trying to do on the Republican side, talk about doing big American infrastructure things. And then, of course, FDR always tried to be the champion of our armed forces and gets great credit. I write about World War II quite a bit in the book as commander-in-chief, and his really brilliant diplomacy with Winston Churchill.
You know, in preparing for this interview and reading the book, one of the things that I've read about you is you talk about the election between Adams and Jefferson, and of course that caught my attention because I thought the one we had now was the most wicked.
Oh, man, Greta, you go back to 1800 and just look at it, Thomas Jefferson and versus John Adams. They just called each other every name in the book. Many people thought we couldn't survive that kind of party system where we just attack each other so viciously. And it's a healing story in the end because as in their last days of their lives, they became friends again and wrote letters. There's a marvelous book, the correspondence of Jefferson and Adams. So sometimes rivals, even ones like Cruz versus Trump or Sanders or Hillary Clinton, can become friendly and sometimes create genuine friendships. Jimmy Carter and Gerald Ford became very dear friends, and Bill Clinton and George Herbert Walker Bush are fairly good friends today.
Well, it's interesting because where you quoted, you say Jefferson's camp accused President Adams of having being hideous, had neither the force and firmness of a man nor the gentleness and sensibility of a woman, and in return Adams' men called Vice President Jefferson a mean-spirited, low-lived fellow, the son of a half-breed Indian squaw, sired by a Virginia mulatto father. I mean, it's like, I thought we had heard everything here with Saturday Night Live taking a couple of swats at all the candidates.
Well, exactly. You know, I always tell students that the point of history, Greta, is to remind us that our own times are not uniquely oppressive. Everybody thinks, oh, it's so bad in 2016. Well, it was worse in the 19th century. All you have to do is think about the Civil War. Think about the Battle of Bull Run, which is where Dulles Airport is today, and the Confederates won that, and you had Lincoln in a White House wondering what was going to happen to him. So we'll survive 2016. I don't think we should be too angst-ridden just because there's some mudslinging going on.
You know, I sort of regret that you and I aren't going to be around, let's say, 80 years from now, sort of almost back to the time of when FDR died, is that we aren't going to be around to read what the historians say about this election.
Well, they're going to point out that, you know, I write a lot about how FDR used radio to get his message across, not just fireside chats, but speeches. And Roosevelt had a genius of kind of talking directly to the people. And you saw in 15 and 16 here the power of Twitter, new media form, getting your message in an instant second, or Instagram, or, you know, this kind of social media environment we're living in. I think it's happening in real time, so we haven't even been able to catch up with it. You know, when Bill Clinton, Greta, first became president in 1993, virtually nobody was sending email. By the time Clinton leaves the White House, there's like 1 billion emails going around the world every hour. And so technology moves so quickly that it takes a while for us to understand its powerful effect on presidential politics.
Well, I think in order to sort of look at this 2016, it helps to look back, and you wrote the book on Teddy Roosevelt, and of course this new one now on FDR. It's a great new book, Doug. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Greta. Take care.